Hey, what's up guys, this is Lee Wiggle on your Overwatch, back with a new video, and today we're going to be going through all of the patch changes for the new Role Lock 222 season that has just dropped on live on every single platform. I want to go through everything and clarify what the changes are, because there were so many changes that were also reverted on this PTR that some people are a little bit confused. So first up, the global ultimate cost is still increased by 12%. This means that every single ultimate in the entire game is going to cost 12% more than it used to. The only exception to this is D.Va's Mini D.Va, because even though this is used on an ult charge, it's not technically an ultimate, so that won't be affected. But a lot of different heroes are going to be seeing much increased times in between their ultimates, especially if their ultimate is an expensive one. On top of this, the other general change is that slowing effects, instead of stacking together, friendly and enemy slowing effects are now separate, and movement speed will be reduced by whichever is slower. So if you're moving slowly as Reinhardt with your shield up, you won't just instantly be frozen. Ashe has had a small buff, which means her reload time per round has been decreased from 3 seconds to 0.25. This makes a nice little difference, although I do still think that Ashe's reload mechanic is one of the least fun to do in the entire game. Maybe we'll see some more changes to this in the future, but for now it's just slightly better. Now Brigitte has had what I would call a rework, and none of this has changed from the PTR, but it is a big change from what you've been playing on live. Inspire, her passive, the healing amount has been increased from 100 to 130, but it is now halved on Brigitte herself. There are now 3 repair packs that she has. The healing amount has changed from 150 to 120 though, and it now heals it over 2 seconds instead of instantly. Also, if you throw multiple packs at the same person, the current duration will be extended by 2 seconds. Whip shot goes out a lot faster now. The velocity increased from 60 to 80, and the retracting time has been halved. Her barrier has been more than halved though, from 500 shields down to 200. This is very noticeable when you play her. And shield bash, the stun duration has been reduced from 0.9 seconds to 0.75. Her ultimate cost has also been increased by 10%, so you're going to want to use Rally wisely if you ever manage to build it up. Doomfist actually got a nice little quality of life buff, where quick melee no longer pauses ammo reload. If you're a Doomfist main, you'll just have to let me know in the comment section how much of a difference you think this makes, because it's one hero that I don't use a lot, but I think it's a nice little difference. Speaking of nice little differences, but maybe this time not enough, Orisa's protective barrier cooldown has been increased from 8 seconds to 9. A lot of people think that this change isn't enough, and I think maybe I agree. And when we test it through the beta and with Sigma releasing, hopefully there are enough counters that Orisa isn't as oppressive as she's been in recent weeks. Also, don't forget about Reinhardt's passive Steadfast, a new ability that reduces knockback effects by 30%. This is every single knockback in the game, whether it be Junkrat Mine, Fire Concussion, Brigitte Boop, Lucio Boop. The only thing it doesn't affect is actually freezes and other forms of CC. Maybe if Reinhardt isn't good enough, we could maybe even give him some resistance to other things that will make him more viable in the game. Sombra has actually been nerfed. Her hack duration on enemy players has been reduced from 6 seconds to 5, and EMP activation time has been increased from 0.5 seconds to 0.65. This one doesn't sound like a big change on the face of things, but coupled with the ultimate nerf, Sombra actually takes quite a big L here. I don't think she'll be unplayable by any means, but she will be harder to use for a lot of people. Now don't forget that Zarya and Symmetra both received a buff, and this to a lesser extent does affect Winston and Moira. There has been a bug fix for interactions on beams where if you're losing target and then reacquiring it, it wasn't doing the right amount of damage. So actually the worse that you are with beam heroes, the better this change is going to be. Now it has been made very clear that this won't affect people like the pros very much, although I'm not sure we agree. We seem to think that this is just an overall positive buff, especially for Zarya and Symmetra, and even for Moira and Winston. Speaking of Symmetra, she got a bunch of other changes too. Some of these did get reverted, so I'll try and keep it as clear as possible as to what has been changed. Now, the teleporter lasts an infinite duration until destroyed. Players can destroy their own teleporter with the ability to input. Cooldown now starts when the teleporter is destroyed, not on use. The maximum range has been increased from 25 to 30, and the teleporter breaks if the entrance is more than 40 meters from the exit. This is what happens if you try and put it on a payload or something like that. There was a couple of other changes for Symmetra, but these have been reverted to their original values. Tracer's Pulse Bomb has also been increased from 300 to 350 damage. This is a really nice little change, makes it way more reliable when trying to kill Brig or Doomfist or anything with armor, and makes it much better against tanks. I think we could have the original 400 damage back, but it doesn't look like Daddy Jeff wants to give us that anytime soon. Also, Wrecking Ball has had a change where originally his projectile speed on his ultimate was increased from 10 to 13, but they have since reduced this down to 12. This causes the mines to spread out more, and this makes it easier to create a wider minefield, especially from high in the air. So learning to master this to drop it from the right range so that they're spread out enough to cover an area, but also not too much for people to weave in and out of easily, is going to be a big skill. And they've also reduced the activation time on that ultimate from 0.25 seconds to 0.1. Now, Sigma's a little bit of an enigma at this point because until I get to play the game after making this video, I won't know if Sigma's in competitive. However, if he is in competitive, I will leave a comment, but he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be in comp until the actual release of Roll Queue on September the 1st, and he has had some changes as well. These are that his kinetic grasp cooldown has been reduced from 15 to 13 seconds, and that his shield per damage conversion has been increased from 1/3 to 0.4. On top of this, they've changed kinetic grasp so that it can now be cancelled by accretion, and his experimental barrier can now be recalled while kinetic grasp or accretion are in use. This makes him just better overall, makes him flow much more smoothly in his playstyle, and just buff him basically. There are also a bunch of bug fixes, and if you want to see them, I am going to leave them on screen for you guys, just flickering through. This is a lot of changes to take in. I'm just glad that Moira being able to fade out of everything in the game got removed, because I was not looking forward to that being in the live version of the game. So let us know what you think to any of this, guys, in the comments section down below. Be sure to drop a like, because it does help us out and lets us know you're enjoying the content, and you're going to want to hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you get notified when our videos go live. Be sure to have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.